What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a little bit of a spicier approach to the Go Battle League today, running the new Skeledirge in the Ultra League. I caught a rank 1 for Ultra League, and I'm like, there's no chance I'm not building this thing. So we built it, played it on stream last Friday, as you all may know already. And if you don't, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So come check us out and hang out while we mauled at Go Battle League GBL. But taking a bit of a balanced team approach here, trying to keep some of the things that Skeledirge doesn't really do well against, but Poliwrath and Cresselia, not really my usual ABB approach, and has some really good battles in these sets here, but unfortunately didn't have a massive win rate with it, but it was a lot of fun to try Skeledirge, and I think that most of the reason why is because Tapu Fini was literally everywhere, and I only have one thing to answer Tapu Fini in the team here. So gonna go straight into these battles here, and let's take a look at Skeledirge in the Ultra League. Don't click away, because these are some amazing battles. We get a really nice lead here in the first battle. We get a Poliwrath into the Drapion after my opponent swaps out of the Virizion, not wanting to play out that dominating loss of a lead there. And Sludge Bomb is going to come through. I was looking to see if my opponent has the Sludge Bomb or the Crunch. Now the opponent farming up more energy here. Drapion still not a bad pick for the Ultra League, as long as you can keep it away from Cobalion, honestly. And I'm not going to go ahead and find out that they have Sludge Bomb, but now that they're going to show me they have Aqua Tail. So we're going to go ahead and shield that up, and I'm just going to go for it. I think they're just in an Aqua Tail here, so I'm going to no shield, hoping that I live it with enough HP. But opponent has a Sludge Bomb, my silly self not counting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tank one Aqua Tail and farm all the way down, because my Cresselia does handle the Virizion just as nicely. This energy lead is going to give me an advantage against whatever comes in, because there's not a whole lot of things that like to deal with Skeledirge with that much energy, and Steelix is certainly one of them. And this is definitely a team that covers Steelix in the lead and in the back. Now, oh man, my voice cracked there. I finished puberty like 10 years ago, dude. What is this? Anyway, landing the Shadow Ball here. I'm not going to shield. I know that the Breaking Swipe doesn't do a ton of damage, but I need to soften this thing up a bit. It is now low enough where I can safely come in with my Grass Knot Cresselia here and just go ahead and tank a move. Even with a Breaking Swipe debuff, the Moonblast will still do plenty of damage into the Virizion. I just have to be careful of a potential catch here. So by throwing on good timing, I'm able to adjust while my opponent swapping out and not getting the move caught. Moonblast is going to hit the Virizion, and the opponent is just about not going to be able to live the next one. So I'm going to farm up a little bit extra here after this move. Again, making sure I throw with good timing, not wanting to tank another Leaf Blade, but I do get a little greedy here anyway. Probably should have thrown sooner, but that's okay. Like I said, I wanted to have energy so that I could hit that Steelix out when it comes back, and then my Skeledirge should be able to finish it up. So I'm going to come in with Skeledirge to get that farm down, and then I just need one more Incinerate to get to the Shadow Ball. Opponent not going to be able to farm me down here, and that is going to wrap up this game. Very well played to my opponent here. Skeledirge is so much fun, but here's the reality of it. And that's obviously going to be, you know, you clicked in here to know the truth about Skeledirge. It's good when it's good, and it's bad when it's bad. Okay, we got a Cresselia here, and the opponent's not swapping out unless they have Future Sight, which they've definitely farmed up to the Future Sight here. They get completely walled here, so they're probably core broken. The opponent swaps into a Greninja, and I have a hard answer in the back in Poliwrath. So I'm going to come in with my Poliwrath. I'm going to absorb this energy, see if I can tank 2. I can easily tank 2. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep countering down, and I'm going to look to get this energy against the Cresselia or whatever else comes in afterwards. I do have to keep in mind that the Cresselia's got a move loaded, so that'll be something to be wary of. I'm probably going to throw my energy immediately when I see the Crest come in, because this is likely going to be a CMP tie. If I were to throw another counter, the opponent would be able to get a move off and waste all the energy that I had stored. So that was a CMP. That's a very good tactic to know. If you win CMP against whatever's likely to come in, just go ahead and hit the move. But make sure that you're paying attention to what comes in, because you don't want to blindly throw into something like a Giratina. Now, my opponent having Shadow Claw Giratina is not very beneficial for my Skeledirge here, but I will be able to throw the Shadow Ball and get a shield, and I'm looking to stay in and go for the next Shadow Ball here. My opponent farming up a lot of energy, and I'm wondering why they haven't thrown yet. Maybe they just want to save the energy for whatever comes in next. But my Cresselia is going to come in with 2 shields up. All I'm going to need here is 2 Moonblasts, assuming the opponent's not running Shadow Force, which not many of them do. I tried a great many teams with Skeledirge. This is one of them. I also tried running at ABB with a Shadow Force Giratina, and I was one of those people. I am one of those people who does not believe that there is a algorithm in this game that automatically matches you against people who hard counter you. I think that that's absolute nonsense, and I think that if you do believe in it, you should let me re-enlighten you by going to my Medify page and looking me up for coaching, because I can definitely change your mind on that. But I was definitely feeling the pain of what those who do believe in that algorithm definitely feel, because I was not having a good time. No matter what way I flipped my team, it seemed like everything Skeledirge needed to see was on the other side of the team. Put it in the lead, saw things like Greninja and Aggron, like things I would never see unless I had Skeledirge in the lead. Here we go. We got a hard lead loss, and unfortunately, because I'm running Poliwrath, and I honestly wish I should have maybe put my Tapu Fini in there. I'm looking to catch a Surf here, and I fail. Opponent probably just full sends the Moonblast, to be honest. I'm forced to shield. They do full send it, so I'm going to stay in with my... I'm going to have to stay in. I just swapped it in. But opponent's going to come in with their Galarian Weezing. They're playing an ABA Fairy line, which is nonsense to me, and I think that's what really the reason why I had such a bad time with this team after those first 2 games. You're going to see some of the closest losses I've ever seen in my time playing this game, but the teams are just so polarized against Steelix right now that it's extremely difficult to really navigate the Ultra League. So I have had a lot of success and a lot of absolute not success running various teams with and without Skeledirge. So it's just, yeah, see, there's the Steelix. So, like, of course, you know, and it's Thunderfang Steelix, and I have no idea what the counts are for Thunderfang Steelix, and I've never seen it, but I love this a person running some spice. Maybe they ran out of fast TM, so they just wanted to play something that, you know, a safe swap Steelix with Thunderfang, I think is a really smart idea. If the opponent immediately goes into like a Tapu Fini, that would be an interesting thing to counter them with. But Grass Knot's going to do little damage here, and increasingly less so damage as the opponent lands more breaking swipes. So I'm looking to go for these Grass Knots as soon as I can here. And then I immediately pop in with my Skeledirge, but the opponent able to get to a breaking swipe before I'm able to get one Incinerate through. It's actually a Crunch. The opponent is running Crunch, and then they swap in the Tapu Fini immediately. And of course, you know, I feel like things have just started going from bad to worse here. I'm not going to be able to get to a Shadow Ball, so I'm just going to go for the Disarming Voice here. And I'm going to bring my Crest back in and try to see what I can do. My Crest is the only thing on this team that I have that really answers Tapu Fini. I mean, Poliwrath could, in essence, play through that matchup in a straight 2-shield scenario because counter is just that good. But it's not something that I can safely, you know, come in, safe swap into, and then just get bent. That's basically what I was doing here. So I'm basically just going to try my best. I've got a shield. I'm pushing my Crest to its absolute limits. I know that the Crest can get to the Grass Knot here and take out the Tapu Fini, but my opponent comes with Steelix, so I throw a Grass Knot here, and I'm trying to keep very steady track of how much damage the Thunderfangs are doing. I'm just going to rely on the Force to try and get through this, and I was going to go for the catch right there. I don't know if you saw me tap my Poliwrath, but I was just one move too late, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get through the Steelix, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Very close one, and unfortunately, I was just one move off. So we get a Cresselia in the next game. Nice lead here. XehrFelrose comes in, and I'm very, very aware that it probably has Brutal Swing. Opponent throws right away, and I'm like, yep, they got Brutal Swing, as they pretty much all do, honestly. But they go for Thunder Punch, and I'm like, okay, maybe. Maybe they don't. So I'm going to go for a Disarming Voice, trying to get that shield back at least, and then I think I'm going to pop into my Crest, hoping that they don't have it. And the opponent going for some more energy here, they throw a charge move, and I'm going to no shield no matter what, because even if it is a Brutal Swing, doesn't matter. And it is, so they do have the Brutal Swing. They're mind gaming me here. Very, very thoughtful idea of my opponent to try and mind game me into thinking they didn't have Brutal Swing. But I kind of expected it. I'm like, they either have Brutal Swing or they have Trailblaze. And I'm going to full send my Moonblast here, hoping that it might be enough to KO unless the opponent wants to give up the other shield. I'm kind of hoping they don't, but they do. And then they come in with Cresselia, and my switch timer is not up yet. So I'm just trying to stall it out a little bit by going for a Moonblast here, maybe even hoping for an attack drop. Opponent still farming up energy. Switch clock's still not up yet, so I have to go for a Grass Knot for some chip damage so I can swap out. And immediately going to come in with my Skeledirge and go for the Shadow Ball, but because of the fact that Incinerate is just such a long, fast move, opponent goes for the Future Sight. They are not walled by my Skeledirge at all because of Future Sight, which is, I love Future Sight on Crest, to be honest. I was playing another line with Cresselia in the back and Tapu Fini, and Cresselia having Moonblast and Future Sight, or even if you run it with Future Sight, Grass Knot, I think, is still solid, because then you can deal with Charizard, which is another very difficult thing for this team. This whole team basically gets bent by Charizard, and it's really unfortunate. I'm looking for a farm down here. Unfortunately for me, though, the opponent still has a Pokemon in the back, and it is in the form of Virizion. And so I'm going to have to go for the Ice Punches here. I'm looking to try and make a catch on the Leaf Blade, but my opponent does throw on alignment here, allowing me to get into my crest, but my opponent makes a very, very smart undercharge, gets a whole Leaf Blade ready to go. So I'm hoping that this Ice Punch is going to be enough to KO the Virizion from here. We saw it got it to about half, and ooh, it's so close, man. It's so close. I almost had it. But alas, my opponent does outplay me here and just barely outbulks me and takes the win. So good game to them. Skeledirge on the next game. We've got Pidgeot in the lead. This is a very nasty matchup because of the fact that I am running Skeledirge and it's a ghost type. My opponent's going to be able to get to a Feather Dance before I can even get to a move. I'm going to call the Feather Dance here because every Pidgeot I ever see runs Feather Dance. No one ever runs Brave Bird. No, it's like they're all single moved, you know? So I'm going to bank the energy on my Skeledirge and I'm going to get into my crest. They're going to Feather Dance me again. I have to deal with it. I'm hoping that with my bulk and my energy that I've got now, I can I cannot maul at the Registeel that comes in to completely wall my Cresselia. It's Pidgeot. Probably it's Pidgeot Double Steel. So it makes a lot of sense for Pidgeot to have a Registeel behind it. I fully expect there to be like a Cobalion or something back there. So we're just gonna sit here and suffer, and I mean, I'm just weeping in my soul right now. Even as I'm watching these battles back, I see the steel typing come in, and I'm like, yep, that's a Registeel. That's painful. That's absolutely painful. And this is what I was talking about. Like, I either get the really good leads for Skeledirge, or you get really bad leads, and I don't think that Skeledirge is a Pokemon that is able to really come out of those bad matchups and make its farm down work. You know, you have to get kind of lucky with the team comps to a degree, and I know that there's other videos out there. You know, Those made one, Donkus has made one, and they did very well with their Skeledirge, and I unfortunately could not produce as excellent results as they have. Maybe I'm just washed, I don't know, or I just had some really, really bad luck. I go for an undercharge on my Disarming Voice. You're hoping to get some farm here before the opponent gets to another charge move, so I'm going to be able to get the farm down, and they come in with a Tapu Fini. And at this point, I'm basically like, I'm giving up. But I am going to at least try to play this out here. Shadow Ball will come through, and this is giving me some hope. I'm going to go for the Disarming Voice here. Maybe this gets a shield. Opponent is basically just going to farm my Skeledirge down from here. So I need to get into something here. I'm going to try to see if I can catch a move or get to another one. But unfortunately for me, I just give my opponent a full farm down. I probably should have just swapped into Poliwrath. But at this point, it's like, I don't know, man. I go for the Moonblast because I was expecting them to go into Pidgeot here, so I'm now going to try and see if I can make a farm down happen with this Poliwrath, get into the Ice Punch, but apparently Pidgeot wins CMP. And they go for Feather Dance. I don't... There are some Pokemon that you just don't expect to lose CMP to something else. You look at Poliwrath and you're like, that looks like it should win CMP. And at this point, I fully expect my opponent to bait me with a Surf. So I let it go. They do bait me with the Surf. And even then, I'm not going to have it low enough. But what I need to do here is I need to shield this up. I need to get to 2 charge moves here. And hopefully that'll be enough for me to take out the opponent's Tapu Fini. I'm looking to get an Ice Punch off. Going to go for the shield. What I'm hoping to do here is bank a Scald, swap out into my crest, reset that debuff, or even an Ice Punch. But unfortunately, at the very last second, I go down with the move, and my opponent is going to be able to take me here. So well played to my opponent. I got completely hard countered. I don't think anything I could have possibly done there. And again, maybe it's the team comp. I don't know. I was trying to cover Skeledirge's basis with a balanced looking team, and unfortunately, it's, you know, you lose lead. That's the thing I don't like about balanced teams, and why I tend to lean towards ABB teams. So keep this in your mind as you play certain types of teams. I don't like balanced teams because if I lose lead, very often what happens is I also lose the game because you just get RPS. You get, you know, the opponent is going to have a good answer to my Skeledirge in the lead. They're also going to have a good answer to the thing that beats that answer. So if they have Tapu Fini in the lead, they're most likely going to have a very good answer in the back to something like Cresselia or Virizion or something like that. And so typically those, you know, you lose your only answer to the thing that's causing you pain in the lead. Then what? Right? So the opponent comes back in with the Virizion. I'm in a good spot here, though. I can throw my Ice Punch into them. They're going to tank that. And even though it doesn't do as much damage as I'd hoped, I'm not able to get to another one here. My opponent does throw energy, and I'm fine with this because I'm still with 2 shields. I have a Skeledirge that can come in, start getting ahead on energy here. My opponent looking like they're getting some visual lag. They only get one move in. I think that was definitely some lag, or they weren't paying attention. They go for a Leaf Blade here, so that damage doesn't really matter. I'm going to look for a full farm down. The opponent is going to get to another move, and because they're staying in, I'm going to shield my Skeledirge because it looks like it might have some value. The opponent comes in with a Sand Slash. It's an Alolan Sand Slash. Now, those Shadow Claws, if it has it, will hurt, but the Incinerate's going to hurt a lot worse. But because I have Skeledirge, I'm going to go ahead and throw a Disarming Voice. Because I have Skeledirge, I have to stay in here because my Cresselia cannot handle this thing at the HP it's at. But thankfully, we're going to get to the Shadow Ball. I was just looking to get this opponent's Sand Slash as low as I could and then swap in my Crest. And at this point, I can just Psycho Cut down and take the win here. Very good game to my opponent. That Sand Slash was scary. I'm not going to lie. It was scary. Obstagoon on the lead. This is not a good lead for me, but at least I have two things in the back that have decent play into it. So I am going to come in with my Crest because I'm rocking Moonblast, and I have a Poliwrath in the back. So if I can somehow win alignment here, I'm good. So my opponent looks to catch the Moonblast on their Charizard, and it is at that point that I realized, yeah, there's no way. This is where I wish I was running Future Sight on my Cresselia, because Future Sight would absolutely be able to put pressure on the Charizard. They wouldn't have shielded it. I could have gotten shields, shield advantage and everything. And even then, even if my Skeledirge is up against the Obstagoon, I can throw Disarming Voice. So I won't get switch advantage here at all. I'm looking to just maybe get a farm down now with my Skeledirge. If they let me, I was going to try to go to another charge move, get shield advantage. My opponent counting very well. Goes for the Dragon Claw, and I'm going to come out with my Skeledirge. I resist the Blast Burn, and the Incinerate are doing a reasonable amount of damage, with my opponent giving me a free Incinerate here, which is not ideal. Gonna throw a resisted Blast Burn, and then they're gonna come in immediately with Obstagoon. Now, I know that timing is not everybody's strong suit. It is something that I coach over on Metafy. If you are looking to improve on it, I can absolutely help you with that. Because throwing on alignment, especially when you're facing something with, like, you know, a Skeledirge with like a and they have Gardevoir in the back. Oh, this is a nasty. I remember this battle. This one was nasty. But if you throw an alignment, you give your opponent an entire free Incinerate. That is an absolutely just, it's a bad thing to do. So opponent looking like they're rocking Gardevoir. I'm expecting them to have Triple Axle as well as the Magical Leaf, so they do. And I live it, thankfully, but not going to be able to get to the Ice Punch here, as the Triple Axle leaves me in range for the Magical Leaf. That's what it is. I'm going to shield up a move here. I know it's going to be another Triple Axle. They're just looking to boost their attack here. They go for the Shadow Ball, and because of Incinerate, I lose the ability to hit the Gardevoir with Shadow Ball, and now I'm having a real bad time. This is everything that they're throwing at me is resisted here. They do have probably Shadow Ball and the Magical Leaf, but they're going to go for Triple Axles here. The opponent no shields that, and I'm just going to go ahead and farm down. That Disarming Voice doing neutral damage does hit pretty hard, and this Incinerate that got through should take out the Gardevoir, and that'll be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Getting into the final game here with Skeledirge against the Tapu Fini, the Nightmare lead. I'm immediately going to pivot into my Crest, which I probably should have just pivoted into my Poliwrath, to be honest, because once again, we are now hit with a Shadow Charizard, which is a bad matchup. And this is what I'm talking about, right? The opponents will usually have these answers in the back. So I guess this could be a little bit, if you're still watching in the video, which I appreciate you if you are, because, you know, a lot of the times people just like look at the video, get the team, and then dip, not knowing that this actually might not be the greatest team they've ever played. Let's face it, most of my teams are amazing. I meant that totally humbly. Y'all know I'm messing around anyway. But yeah, so like the thing with this team is it's absolutely a balanced team. It's really a meta read, as if you're seeing a lot of Virizions, Cobalions, Steelix is on the lead. And then you've got things in the back that can handle some of the things that you see in the meta, especially the Tapu Finis in the back. Those are the things that I was really worried about. And they all happen to be in the front with me, so, you know, it is what it is. But Shadow Blast Burn does some damage, but I'm going to be able to get a farm down here, and I'm looking to carry this energy into the Tapu Fini that's about to come in, and then I'm going to look to pivot into my Poliwrath here. Opponent did not get a ton of energy on their Tapu Fini before swapping out, so I can safely come in, start chipping, and the opponent's got a Gliscor, and then suddenly I feel the light come from above, and I feel like I've got a chance. I no shield it because it's a Night Slash. I think, okay, it's resisted. There's no way that this could possibly go wrong. But because Wing Attack hurts so much against Shadow Poliwrath, I have to shield the next move, and then I have to over farm a little bit because the Tapu Fini is going to hit me in the face, and then I get a low battery warning, and then my phone is trying to revolt against me. Ice Punch takes out Gliscor. Opponent just has to go for a Surf here, and they do not make it to the Surf. I'm going to come in with my Skeledirge immediately if I can, not let the opponent farm me down here, trying to go for a charge move, but they get to the Surf in time, and I'm not able to get my Disarming Voice off. And once again, another close loss to a hard counter team. Poliwrath might be able to... Nope, not having it. Nope. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to play Skeledirge, but unfortunately, I did not have a positive win rate with it. I think I just went 5-5 in the sets that I played. So you got some highlights here, some close games, and then I cut out the ones that I got completely demolished because I didn't want to show those are too humiliating. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We're going to catch you on the next one with some actual good teams. Keep an eye on the channel because they're all going to be good ones the rest of this week. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.